I'll show you how to strip this machine down. This was a free machine which I literally took out the rubbish. So remove your head, remove the dustbin, 1 click, 2 clicks, dustbin comes off. What we're going to do is we're going to give all of this a good thorough wash and a scrub in antibacterial water. So some Dettol or something to kill any bacteria on this to make sure it smells nice when we're done. So to remove the motor from the cyclone, what you're going to do is flip it upside down. There's 2 white tabs, just use a screwdriver or your butter knife. Butter knife works better normally. And all we're going to do is we're just going to bring those tabs in and pop the cyclone off. Let's move that out of the way for the moment. So with the cyclone, I'm going to show you how to take this apart. First of all, we're going to remove the filter. This filter needs to be taken off of this to be cleaned, and I'm about to show you why. All you need to do is get a butter knife. Just around here, you've got 1, 2, 3 tabs. All we're going to do is slide this under the tabs, tilt this down as we do it, and what it will do is it will pop the tabs off, and it will allow us to take this filter out, because again, we don't want to spend money. This is a washable filter and it is a serviceable item, and I'm going to show you why you need to take this off. You can buy new ones of these, they are cheap, but nobody ever does. Are you ready? This is why you need to take yours apart. Oh my god, see how much stuff's in there? I'm just going to empty that in the bin. Right, so I've emptied the worst of that in the bin. What you're going to do is you're going to clean this out. You're going to use a butter knife or something, and you're going to clean down inside here, because watch how much stuff comes out of this. This is why you need to clean these properly and not just run them under the tap. So what we're going to do, that's going to go in the bucket to get washed. Along with that, now we're going to get to the cyclone. This is really easy to take apart. I did a quick hack video where I showed you to take this off here, and it just makes the dust fall out. When you empty this in the bin, the dust falls out rather than getting stuck around the side of it. So the cyclone mesh comes away. You can wash this as it is, run this under the tap, wash it all out if you don't want to take this apart, but this is really easy to take apart. Again, get your butter knife like I showed you before, and you just slide around this part right here. There's one last clip right here. There we are. Now this machine is absolutely disgusting. Look at that, it's mouldy inside. This is why you need to use an antibacterial cleaner to get rid of all of that mould, and that is why these machines would smell bad. You can go one step further. There are screws in here. If you have a T8 screwdriver, you can unscrew all of this and you can wash it, but just by doing this so far, you'll be able to clean out from inside there. So that is going to go in the bucket to get washed, and that is absolutely disgusting. All right. Now, onto the motor head. There's a small Phillips screw just in the back of here. All we're going to do is just going to undo this. Now, like I say, I did a video showing you how to replace this with a HEPA filter. So if you take yours apart and the filter in the back of this is completely disintegrated, you can buy a HEPA filter off of eBay for just a couple of quid. I'll leave a link in the description below. Come on. There we are. There's one of them. There's the other one. Like I say, it's just clipped. It just takes a little bit more force than I was willing to do then. You can see the 2 clips there. One here. There we are. And we can wiggle that off. So you can clean this out. You can just brush this off with a dry paintbrush. To be fair, there's not too much hair caught inside that. So here's the rear filter I was talking about. Like I say, sometimes people take these out and they absolutely break up. like this one has. You can see how this is just sticky, gooey mess. So I will be putting a HEPA filter on the back of this as well. Again, they're just a couple of quid. So that is absolutely, yeah, look, you can see why these clog up and need to be cleaned. Absolutely disgusting. Right, so that'll be going in the wash. Now, battery replacement. What we're going to do, we've already took one of the screws out. It's for the rear cover. There's one more screw just here. I'm just going to pop this off. You don't need to take the motor head apart any further than this. I'll give this all a brush out in a minute off camera with the dry paintbrush. Perfect, it's working. So we just put a screw back in. That's a lot better than the old battery. Put that screw back in there, and then we'll put the other one back in once we put the rear cover back on. So that's it for the motor head. Now onto the brush bar. As you can see, here's a brush bar. It's just as filthy as the rest of the machine. You can either use your flathead screwdriver or your butter knife. One, turn that. You can lift this cover off. This is pretty nasty and full of crap. It's not too bad in there. There's no blockages. That's another reason these Dysons pulse, is because they get blocked up. Under your end cap cover, twist, and then you can see in there. You need to get a screwdriver. You need to clean all of this out because this will stop your brush bar from spinning. And look at this. This is what happens if you don't maintain your Dyson. Look at that. All of that in there will be stopping that brush bar from spinning correctly. And it'll be using extra power from your batteries. That'll be going in the wash. The brush bar then just slides out. Then you'll need to get a knife, clean in here, get all of this out. You can see why somebody threw this away. This is pretty bad. And then I need to get something to get that out of there. I'll cut that out in a minute, but yeah, we'll clean all of that up. There's nothing in that end. Right, the reason we need the T8 Torx bit on this long old thing, as you can see here, we need to go all the way in into this black spindle. Hold the spindle with your finger, undo the screw. It's just a little screw in there. See it there? Pop that to the side, get the screwdriver out, and give this a goodness me, that is stuck in there. Right, that is stuck in there, so we're just going to give this a wiggle, and there we go. Pop that off. That end's quite clean, but when you look down in here, this is one of the reasons these brush bars stop spinning. I've done previous videos on these. These get absolutely full of hair and it gets all tangled up and knotted. And this one is actually full of dirt, but it's not knotted up. So you can't put this in the wash, but you can wash all of this out. So you can get this wet, there's no problem with that. Just don't get this part here wet, because you've got your motor and everything under here. That's your switch, so it knows when it goes on the ground. But yeah, so all of this is going to get a good wash out as well. So I'm going to take all of this, like I say, antibacterial wipes, antibacterial wash, and I'm going to clean all of this up, and I'll come back to you in a minute and show you what it looks like, and then we'll go through the reassembly. Right guys, we are back. Everything is now clean. This machine was absolutely disgusting. You can see though, the bin is clean. The brush bar is nice and clean. All cleaned out. Brush bar's clean. Look at the difference in this filter. Look at that. See inside there? Nice and clean. So, it's time for reassembly. Reassembly is very fast with this machine. So, get a filter, slide it back on the sock cover, clip, clip, clip. Filter's clean and back on, back in the machine. Cover for your cyclone. Turn it around until it lines up with the lines here. See, it lines up there. And we just click it on. Give it a twist, pull, make sure that's back on. Perfect, that's back on. That can now go back on the dustbin, which is also nice and clean. Like I say, I used a antibacterial cleaner for all of this to make sure it is all nice and clean. Because I wanted to show you how to do this without spending as little money as possible, if not any. So the rear filter, which broke, all I did, got a washing up sponge, cut it, made a new filter to go in the back housing. So the back housing, to refit the back housing, all we do, put the tab in there like this, push down on the top, pull the bottom out as you go, and give it a good wiggle both sides. Make sure everything's lined up as you slide it back on. That's the back on. Refit the screw, which goes in just here. The screwdriver, that also holds the battery in. That's the motor head back together. Now we can re-clip cyclone on. Clip the top in first. That's the two white tabs that we use to remove it. So we're just going to clip the cyclone in and then clip the bin back in. There we go. That's the main motor head back together. Now we're going to rebuild the brush bar. Remember the piece we took off earlier? Just going to put that back on here. Now this is all clean and there's nothing stuck behind this to stop this from spinning. Just make sure we orientate it the right way and it just slides on. Then we put that tiny T8 screw back in. Use this long old screwdriver. Now we're just going to run that screw back in. That's the screw reinstalled with all the hair removed. Slide the brush bar back in the machine. End cap. Put this back on again. Oh, there's no hair stuck underneath it. Push that in with your butter knife. Twist. It's your brush bar reinstalled. And the cover just slides on, clicks in. Do the tab up. There you go. That is how to